Hi friends and welcome back. So today I will be talking about a subject which is very interesting and very close to my own heart. So we will be talking about life, we'll be talking about destiny, death and reincarnation. And this is a natural algorithm which God has set for His entire creation so that His entire creation goes on an autopilot mode. And just as we have certain natural and physical laws like the law of gravity, or the law of motion which was discovered by Newton, which simply said that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Similarly, we have certain spiritual laws which are the law of duality, the law of karma and the law of reincarnation. And once we understand these laws of how God rules His world or how God runs His world, we will understand and we will not complain, crib about the challenges that we face in our lives. We will understand why we are the way we are, why certain people are born with wealth, with opportunities, with success, and they have everything in their life and we call them fortunate. And at the same time, certain children are born in poverty. They're born with certain diseases and they are actually born with lack of opportunities and we call them unfortunate. Why a certain person at a very young age gets a terminal illness or a disease which he really does not understand why he got it, or why a family meets with an accident and all of them suffer. So once we understand these basic laws, how this universe is governed, we will start understanding why these laws are there. How can we work with these laws? And it's very important for all of us to understand these laws because they help us to expand our awareness, expand our consciousness, and we start approaching life from a very different perspective. So I will be talking about all these three laws one by one, and also in the end I will be sharing with you certain techniques, certain tools which can help us overcome the effects of our past bad karmas, which is one of the most important laws. Whichever law we may take, the law of attraction or the law of manifestation, but the law of karma is a very powerful law and we need to understand this. So let's start with the law of duality. Let's understand what does this mean. So law of duality simply divides the entire creation, the entire universe and the world into two equal opposites. It's like the positive and the negative pole. We all are coming from that same infinite consciousness, that cosmic spirit. And when we come into this material plane, we actually manifest like an individual soul and we come under this law of duality, which simply means that everything will have its equal opposite manifestation, like the hot and the cold, like the day and night, like our desires and fear, like the love and hatred, like our attachments and aversions, success and failure. And we all are governed by this, and the life actually falls between these two opposites. For example, our entire range of emotions are actually between the love and the hatred. Every color in nature is actually between the white and the black. White has no color, as well black has all the colors you combine and it becomes black. And once we understand this, then we are actually moving between these two emotions or these two ends of life. For example, let me just explain to you with an example. Imagine yourself to be a ray of light. We all are coming from that infinite cosmic consciousness and each and every one of us becoming like a ray of light. Imagine yourself to be like a pendulum. And the farther away we move from that cosmic source, from that spiritual level to the materialistic level, which is way below, the farther away we are, the more we move between these two realities, these two opposites. And we continuously draining our energies, by chasing certain things that we like or to avoid certain things which we do not like. And that makes us drained out, We all are chasing happiness, but it's just that we are chasing happiness in wrong directions. We're chasing happiness in the materialistic things, to get that car, to get that job, to get that relationship. So what is it that provides us lasting happiness? So if we understand how does this law of duality works, we will realize that our happiness is all within us. It's just that in our present times, our circumstances, our situation defines our frame of mind. And everyone, depending on the situations, they define their happiness according to what they're going through in life. For certain people, it's those materialistic things, that job, that house, that friendship. But for certain people, that happiness is all within themselves. So what is the difference? So once we realize that it's actually our energy which causes our happiness. It's a state of mind which causes our happiness. So, for example, when we are happy, how our energies just move up, our chest goes back, our head lifts up, and we have a smile on our face. And what do we say at that point of time? We just say, I feel on top of the world, I'm full of energy and I'm happy. But at the same time, when we are sad, when we are depressed, how our head just goes down, our eyes fall down and we have a frown on our face, our shoulders and chest also drops, and we say to ourselves, I feel heavy, I feel low. And this is the natural reaction of the body to just reflect the kind of happiness or the state of mind which we have. So if we realize this, then we can easily understand we really have to work with the state of mind and not on things outside of ourselves. So everything which we're trying to seek in our lives, those materialistic things, that's perfectly fine. It's just that we should not attach our happiness onto those things. We should understand those are simply utilities and we need them to lead a happy and a fulfilling life. And once we realize how to get all that energy in with certain tools, we will realize how to go back to our happiness, how to move into that state. And this is where God gave us two gifts, He gave us the power of reasoning to discriminate between what is a right action and what is a wrong action, and our free will to really manifest those actions, whatever we think. So what is the right action? So every action will be a right action which takes us towards our happiness. And all those actions which take us towards our happiness, you will realize all those actions are not selfish actions, but they are self-giving actions, of loving someone. It takes your energy up. You just help anyone, not even in your family member, anyone outside your entire periphery. And you will see you find a state of content, when you find a state of happiness which comes by giving and sharing, by being generous. So once we understand this, this is how we can perform the right action. And with this, we come to a second law, which is called the law of karma. And when we talk about the karma here, we are not just talking about any action. We're talking about those actions which are done primarily for selfish reasons. Primarily, we do it for ourselves, for deriving happiness out of the universe by asking for something from the universe or asking for something from any person. And as we said, the law of karma or the law of duality is that whatever we ask or take from the universe, then we have to return that thing to the universe. So with this law of karma, we understand one thing, that our present situation is a result of all our past actions, all our past decisions and the way we used to think. And similarly, our future will be determined by what actions we take in the now, what decisions we take in the now. Even for that matter, what choices you make in your life, how you spend your time, what kind of people you choose, and how you think. So it's very important to understand, since this law of karma is very perfect and it's very intricate, your thought and your intentions behind the actions are more important than the action itself. And sometimes when you do an action, which is the right action of helping somebody, but if your intentions are not right, you're really looking at a selfish gain and that person does not realize that action will also be considered as a wrong action. And somewhere down the line in future, you will have to repay the action which you performed out of bad intentions. So we create our actions not only by the physical energy that we put into the actions. We create our actions even through our thoughts. So if you work on something and you work half-heartedly, you will actually get a half-hearted result. And it's so important to realize what creates our action is actually our thoughts, because the beginning of our thoughts creates the willingness to do something. Only when you will think and you want to do something, you will be willing to go out and do it. And once we have the willingness, we create the energy. And that energy, when we put into things, it what creates reality. That's why Paramahansa Yogananda ji said, the greater the will, the greater the flow of energy. And the greater the flow of energy, the greater is our magnetism to attract things to us. So that's why we say thoughts are things. So whenever we have a very deep-seated desire, a very deep thought about getting something from this universe, we will finally realize it somewhere down the line in our life. The certain opportunities would come which will help us realize the destiny. And that's why sometimes we just go to a certain situation. We meet somebody who really helped us to achieve something which we deeply desired. And what do we say? We just say, oh, what a coincidence, I was there at that point of time. No, The universe does not work like that. The universe is a very complex and interrelated aspect it has. And every action which is fulfilled in the universe is actually coming out of our own past actions, our own past thoughts. What made you be there in that party and met that people was really not a coincidence. It was somewhere a deep-seated desire which caused, some of your friends just came and, really forced you to let's go and be there in that party. You had no plan also. You were forced because universe came together to make you there present at that point of time. So now let's understand what is the law of karma. So law of karma simply states, as we sow, so shall we reap. So if we do good, we will receive good. And if we do bad, we will receive bad. And this law of karma, you can see it in your daily life also. If you perform, let's say you eat bad food, immediately the result would be probably you fall sick or you get a bad stomach. And slightly more complex example is, you may cheat somebody, and at that point of time, definitely you've gained some benefit out of it, you've made a profit. But somewhere in the future, you will have to repay. And it could be not only as a financial loss. If you've cheated somebody of a certain amount of money, you will have to pay that kind of money in future because of an illness or an accident or even a loss in business. And this law of karma is very absolute, not quantitatively but qualitatively. And this is very important for us to understand. So when you cheat a weak person of something, the kind of suffering that person went through, you will face the same consequences. Not the consequences exactly in terms of what you did, but you will also suffer the same kind of suffering, the kind of suffering that person suffered. For example, let's say a person cheats a weak person, a person who's not very wealthy, of say 5,000 rupees. And this person who cheated that person is very wealthy and he just doesn't bother, it's just 5,000, okay. And he just decides, okay, if this is the law of karma, I will pay the same amount somewhere in future. It's like a loan from the universe. But the law of karma works, as I said, qualitatively. The kind of suffering that weak person went through because of that 5,000 rupees. Let's say that 5,000 rupees was worth of a month of ration for his family. The kind of suffering he would have gone through. Now this person who cheated that person will go through the same kind of suffering. Not financially. That suffering is important. The kind of suffering this person went through. This rich person will also suffer the same consequences in future. With his health, with an accident, with a robbery, anything that God decides or his situations decide. But this is how the law of karma works. And it's very important for all of us to understand. And people who don't understand, they never mend their ways. So the entire purpose of this law is, God wants us to become better as people. He wants us to grow and become perfect individuals in terms of our habits, in terms of our consciousness. He really wants our consciousness to come back to that center, in that pendulum, so that we start raising that energy up and start moving towards that source. And once we start doing that, with that pendulum, then we don't vacillate so much between our likes and dislikes, our attachments and aversions. We just come to our calm center and we start accepting life the way it is. And this is the law of karma. It's teaching us at every step. It's a progressive journey. And this is where the law of karma comes and teaches us that for every wrong which you have done, either we will face a challenge to learn a lesson or we will be punished. And law of karma are not only individual karmas. It sometimes happens to an entire family. The entire family goes through certain kind of challenges throughout their lives. Law of karma also works in a larger group of people. Why certain countries go into the war? Every citizen of that country faces such dire consequences because of that war. It's, again I said, it's not a matter of coincidence. All those people who had to face those kind of suffering or to face those kind of challenges, they were aligned together by the universe and they were born in that certain place at a certain point of time to face those challenges. And there is another example. Sometimes, there is a plane crash and every person on that plane crash is facing the same consequences, but certain people live. Why? They were on that plane, but because probably they had a very strong willpower in their present times to live. They had a very strong good karmas in their present life and they survived that plane crash. So again, law of karma just helps us understand that really that punishment is not coming for us just so that we are troubled, but also for us to learn a lesson. And we can understand why God behaves like this. If we just see, He's created the universe, He's created this entire life. He's also created the example of how He behaves. And that example we can see in our parents, or we can see when we become parents. So a parent really wants his child to grow. And for that, when he's trying to make the child learn something, learn to walk or learn to walk, he will let the child fall. He knows, that the child can get hurt. But then they want him to fall and learn how to walk properly. Sometimes the parent also punishes the child. They hit the child, they slap the child. Again, not out of their own irritation or anger. It's basically they want the child to learn certain lessons if he's committed some mistake. And this is how God also works with us. He will keep sending us challenges so that we move out of our comfort zone and grow. Sometimes, yes, we are being punished because of certain past karmic action. And when we understand this law, we start treating all those challenges coming to our lives in a very different way. We will not crave, complain or cry because of certain illness or certain things which are way beyond our control. Because now we know, because those actions have caused this present reality and we have to face the consequences. And there are ways how we can overcome our past bad karmas. And I will be talking about these techniques after we speak about the law of reincarnation. And just stick till the end. I'm going to give you a very effective technique which can help burn the seeds of past karmas. And when we talk about karma, most of us don't realize why is this happening in this lifetime. I've been good throughout the life. I've helped people, and I have really been very generous, but still I face certain consequences, certain challenges which are way beyond our understanding. And this is where law of reincarnation comes in. Because karma, we can only understand over a long period of time. And our karmas are not only of this present life. Our karmas go on to, previous lives and life before lives. And we face the consequences in this life, or we will face consequences in the life after this. So law of karma is incomplete without its companion law, which is the law of reincarnation. And law of reincarnation is simply the cycle of our birth, our life, our death and rebirth. So simply when we die, our life does not end there. We would just think, when you die, you go into annihilation and nothing exists for you. No, but the journey of the soul continues. And whatever we have learned, whatever skills we have developed, whatever consciousness we have developed at the end of our present lives, that's the kind of consciousness that we will carry forward. And that's why every child is born differently. Why every child has different habit patterns, why every child have different inclination, That's why certain children are drawn towards becoming doctors. Certain children really want to become an engineer. Somebody wants to become an artist. Why aren't they everyone same? Even those children born in the same household, with the same upbringing, same parents, they are totally different. Because it's just the journey of the soul which is going on and on. So our bodies are simply like clothes to the soul. And for example, we wear different clothes in the morning, we wear different clothes in the afternoon when we go to the office, we wear different clothes when we go to the party. But the essence of us, that I am Dhruv, does not change with those clothes. Similarly, for the soul, these bodies are like clothes. It keeps changing these bodies life after life. It keeps changing personalities because it has to learn certain lessons. It has to overcome certain fears which it has caused us to take this present life. So whatever situations we are born with, the kind of parents, the kind of country and everything is actually determined by our past actions. And our present life is actually a way to learn certain lessons which we need to learn, certain opportunities which will come, which will help us grow as a person, and even certain challenges, again from which we have to move out of our comfort zone and move towards greater awareness and a greater understanding of life. So whatever consciousness we have in this life and which goes on till the end of the life, that's the kind of consciousness we carry on into our next lives. So just as we sleep, if we sleep with a negative emotion, if we sleep with a negative thought in mind, when we get up in the morning, we have the same kind of consciousness, right? Similarly, when we approach the end of our life, which is called the long deep sleep, whatever consciousness we had at that point of time, the same consciousness is carried forward in our subconscious mind into our next life. That's why it's very important to have the right consciousness and keep growing your consciousness with every karma that you perform in the present, because that's what will create the opportunities, the personality and the situations where you will be born with. So as long as we have desires, as long as we have certain fears, we will keep reincarnating in this journey or the cycle of reincarnation. And some of us who are born fortunate, who have led a good life, they have all the opportunities and they're very happy with their life. If you ask them, they will actually say, why won't I be born again? Why won't I love to be born again? Yes, you've had a good life, but those people who are totally into materialistic pleasures and they're really enjoying things, at the end of their life, they start fearing their death. They don't want to lose all those things which they have acquired in this life. And that fear causes their consciousness to contract. And hence, once with the contractive consciousness, they attract certain contractive things. They might not attract that kind of wealth which they had now. They might not attract that kind of opportunities and situations which they had in their life because of that contractive consciousness. And with every birth also comes the 4 curses of life, which most of us face. You all will face a disease, you will all face death, you will face illness and the old age also. And these sufferings, you will have mental suffering, you'll have physical suffering, or you will even have emotional suffering. So you have to go through that entire cycle of life and birth. And it's a progressive journey. The entire purpose of all these 3 laws is just so that we come to our calm center and realize that there's nothing outside of ourselves. Everything is right here, and we need to grow and just become more aware and become more expansive in our consciousness. So as I said, soul just needs a new body, a new personality, a new situation every life to learn certain lessons. That's why, because of those deep-seated desires and fears, we reincarnate. That's why some people become the president of a certain society or a club, and they enjoy all that power, and also they face all those responsibilities because of a deep-seated desire to probably rule a lot of people. They wanted fame, they wanted that power, and also comes the responsibility and fear of certain consequences. So as long as we will have our desires, as long as we will have fears, and as long as we will have certain karmic debts to repay, we will keep coming back and keep reincarnating in the cycle of life and death. So 2 very important things. How can we come out of this cycle of life and death, or how we can burn the seeds of our past bad karmas? So the first thing is, as is said in the Bhagavad Gita, is the Nishkam Karma. So every time you perform an action without the desire for the fruits of action. We aspire for things, but don't get attached to the results. Because when we are anxious about the outcome of our actions, or when we regret certain past actions, our actions will not be perfect. We will not be able to give 100% to that action. And those actions, as I said, if you do a certain action half-heartedly because you tense about those actions will not cause the result to come. And once we start perfecting our actions and we offer every opportunity which comes to us or every challenge that comes to us, and they don't bother us, we keep offering the result up to a higher consciousness towards God. Work with God in everything that you do, whether you're working in your office, whether you're working in the house, whether you're with your friends. Offer that energy up, raise your consciousness, perform every action which takes your energy up and not down and out. And secondly, be even-minded and cheerful in all circumstances. So whether you get opportunities in life or whether you get challenges in life, be thankful and grateful for both of them. Because when opportunities come, they come and help you to grow. And when certain challenges come, they also push your limits and they also help you to grow. And they both are coming from God. And once we realize these 3 laws, then we realize that every situation or circumstance which is happening in our life is happening because of own reasons, our own past actions. And similarly, we can do certain things. We can do those actions which can change our destiny right here, right now. So I'm going to share a technique with you, which is a very simple technique. It has to do with your breath, the power of your concentration and willpower, which can help you change certain habits, certain tendencies, and which can change your destiny. So in this technique, you simply use your breath. And every inhalation, is like a new life. It's like a new beginning, and you affirm life. And then every exhalation is actually a life negating thing where you can remove that bad tendencies from your life. And the next inhalation is again like a new beginning. And this is what the cycle of reincarnation is. It's birth, life, death, and a new life again. So if you want to get rid of any habit, always when you just close your eyes and inhale deeply and concentrate that negative habit at the point between the eyebrows, which is the seat of concentration, and try to get rid of that negative habit. Mentally, just focus very strongly on that habit and see and burn that habit of yours. And then when you exhale, visualize yourself getting free of that negative tendency or that negative habit. And then again, when you re-inhale, then change that habit with an opposite positive habit. When you're re-inhaling, it's like a new life, a new reincarnation, and see yourself positively involved with that new habit. And this is the way to change certain habits, certain tendencies, and you move towards perfection. And another very helpful and a powerful tool to change your destiny, to change your consciousness, is meditation. And in meditation, we are simply withdrawing all our energies, which is flowing outward through our senses. Meditation helps us to concentrate all that energy. It gets it right in the center, and then we consciously raise that energy. We consciously become more expansive and become more aware due to the practice of meditation. And as I have spoken before also of a technique called Kriya Yoga, which is an advanced meditation technique. And Kriya Yoga has the power with that practice to even burn the seeds of our past karma. In the sense that if because of certain past actions we had to meet with an accident, with the power of Kriya Yoga, if you practice this regularly, Krishna says that you can avert that danger, that impending accident also. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna simply says about Kriya Yoga that even a little practice of this inward religion can save you from dire fears and colossal suffering. For those who want to learn meditation and who want to get initiated into Kriya Yoga, I'm going to share the link of Ananda Sangha from where I had done my meditation and learned Kriya Yoga. I'm going to share that in the description. They offer these courses both online and offline. You can check out with them, and also you can, just make a comment if you need any further information, and I'll be happy to share. So the most important thing is always try to live in a positive state of consciousness. Because that's the consciousness which will change your present reality. It will change your thoughts, your decisions, and your choices, and it will give your next reincarnation towards perfection. Because as I said, this is a progressive journey, and we'll keep reincarnating to become better. And if you have a friend or a family member who really doubts his present circumstances and is really struggling with why certain things are happening to them, share this episode with them. Once they realize this, they'll have a greater awareness of why certain things are happening. And also, I've shared certain tools. They can learn to meditate, or they can do that simple breathing exercises, and they can really start changing themselves. And in the end, I would just like to wish all of you, take care, be well. This is Dhruv from The Conscious Way. Thank you.